Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up, social media world? It's your boy Daryl Stinson, and welcome to the Second Chance Live show. I'm excited. I got an improv guest for you. You ain't noticed, friends in high places. His name is Daniel Blue, and Daniel, man, how you feeling today?
Oh man, I'm feeling like amazing out here in Las Vegas cooking, 105 degrees. It's nice and chilly, so no complaints, man.
No complaints. No complaints, man. We're gonna talk about a couple of things. We want to tackle financial literacy, give some advice to startup entrepreneurs, but also talk about overcoming challenges. I know that part of your story, Daniel, is that you found out that you were having a child at the age of 19, while still struggling with an addiction, which was like, whoa, whoa. And so I love to dig into that part. And how did you go from there to where you are today? And so how this works, guys, you know, if you watch the show, I'm gonna read his official bio. And while I'm doing that, I want you to be thinking about your friends, the people that you know in your network who could benefit from our conversation today as we talk about financial literacy and overcoming hardships. Is there someone in your life who you know can benefit from this information? Daniel has agreed to give us his time, and what you can do for us in return is to click that share button on whatever platform you're watching, even if you're watching the replay, because that is how we spread information and give people the opportunity to change their life. Because one nugget, one quote, one perspective change can help you have a whole different life. So, Daniel is a Forbes contributor and a seven-figure business owner of an organization called Quest Education. His company aims to empower people and provide more freedom over one's finances. They give resources and provide education for individuals like you and I to maximize control over their money and to provide their customers with world class service. He went from having a daughter at the age of 19 years old, being addicted to Oxycontin. He was a college dropout to now the seven-figure business owner and family man that he is today. By the way, I saw the picture of your family, bro. Beautiful family, man. Beautiful family. And you guys join me in welcoming Daniel to the stage. Daniel, let us know. I would love to just hit right off. Like, take us to that moment of you finding out you're getting ready to have a child. What was that like
Yeah.
for you?
Well, Daryl, thank you for the intro and the compliment on my family. Super blessed. So I remember like it was yesterday, man. I was in sales. I'm making paychecks every Friday, and my paychecks were 1,500, 3 grand. I'm on the commission lifestyle, right? So I was making six figures as a 18-year-old, and I remember I had a really good day on the phones. Got closed some deals, and at the time I was dating somebody that really there was no future. She knew it, I knew it, but we were just doing our thing, right? And I had a heavy addiction problem at this time. I was abusing Oxycontin. I remember coming home. I just bought a house. This was 2008, and I bought a house right before the market crashed. So I'm in complete douchebag mode at this point. I have a Range Rover. I just bought a house without even thinking about it, without even knowing we're in a bubble at that time, and just closed some deals. And I remember coming home. We're going on a walk, and I remember she's just like, "Hey, I'm pregnant." And the first thing I did, I was right next to a curb. I sat down, and you guys probably remember like the times where you sit on a curb and you just put your head, on your knees, on your forearm, right?
Mhm.
And I was just like, damn, like, can I cuss, Daryl? Is that
Go
cool?
for it, man. Go for
Yeah.
it.
I was just like, fuck, like shit, like my life's over. And I sulked. I sat there for about 30 minutes just in shock. And then the next day I just went back to my life, just getting high and not dealing with the present. And yeah, that was a really, really tough year because I still was abusing drugs, and then my daughter was born. And it's harder. It was harder initially, but now I can say it because my daughter's 12, but I wasn't even there when she was born. So that was a really tough moment in my life to not be there in the hospital when she was born. I was too busy doing drugs. So yeah, man, Oxycontin is a real thing. Heroin's a real thing, and there's a lot of people suffering from addiction even today.
Absolutely, man. What would your advice be to someone who is kind of struggling with that addiction?
I have a lot of respect, Daryl, for people that are able to get clean and stay in the same environment. And I wasn't that person. I tried to get clean so many times. Maybe some people that have friends, family members that were addicted, or maybe they were addicted themselves. When you're using opiates, when you're using, Percocet, Loratabs, heroin, Oxycontin, when you need to get off those drugs, the doctors give you Suboxone, they give you methadone. And I tried all that stuff, and I tried to get clean like 4, 5, 6 times, and I could not get clean. I'd be clean for a week, and then life would hit me in the face, and then I would revert back to, masking myself and just, going back to that dark path. So I tried to get clean on my own, and it didn't happen. And it wasn't until my daughter was 6 months, and it was Thanksgiving Day, and my family's at my house cooking Thanksgiving turkey, and I'm in the streets trying to score pills, and I could not find any pills. I was driving around town calling people, and I couldn't get anything. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, man, what am I doing with my life? Like, my family's at home, I'm over here being a druggie. Like, I need to make a change. I need to do something different. And that was my low moment. So I ended up moving to Las Vegas. I left a small town called St. George, Utah, moved to Las Vegas to get clean. And the point of my story is there's times where you have to change your environment. For me, I knew I needed to be in a completely different city. I needed to have a brand new phone number, and I needed to have a brand new set of friends. And it was scary, but I knew it was going to be a lot scarier if I kept doing the same thing over and over. I was going to keep getting the same results, and I was going to be a shit of a dad for a long time for my daughter, and that's scary. So, my advice is you got to change your environment if you're not getting the results that you need.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And it's so hard because a lot of times people, they built their whole life there. They got connections there, got relationships, they got family there. A lot of times kids are there. And not that you're suggesting leaving kids, but those relationships are hard, especially if you come from like a community where I come from, where if you leave, like, it's like betraying your country, like they're gonna think that you just
Sell out.
you sell out, and it's hard, but you gotta do what's best for you and your long-term sobriety. So man, I definitely get where you're coming from that regards. So walk us through some of those early days. How did you get into Quest Education, and what were some of those challenges along the way that you overcame?
So I was in sales at 18 years old, and I got into sales at a young age, and I was able to excel in it. I was able to cold call, set appointments, close deals, run sales teams, and just move out within the company. I was in the real estate coaching arena. So I was around a lot of real estate investors, and I would hear this terminology called self-directed retirement accounts, where people could use their retirement accounts to flip a house, to invest into real estate. And that was a new concept for me. I always thought that IRAs and 401ks were for mutual funds, were for stocks. I didn't know you could use retirement accounts to invest outside the stock market. So that was about 8 years ago. I was introduced to that concept. And then right around that time, I heard about this concept and I wanted to make a change. I think people can probably relate to this. You hit a certain point where you are in a certain job or an industry for a certain period of time, and you just feel like, not that you mastered it, but you hit a ceiling and you're ready to do something completely different. And you're okay knowing that you're going to leave your stable job or your good paying job and go somewhere else and make less money because it's going to be more fulfilling. It's going to give you what you want out of life, which isn't always money. And I was willing to do that. So I went from making 6 figures to like less than half, a little bit, probably about 40K my first year. And I went into the self-directed retirement account arena and learning about IRAs and 401ks and starting from the bottom. That was a challenge, right? Because you go from closing deals, being a top dog, to, all right, now you're at a new company in a new industry, prove yourself. And that's not always easy to hear for the ego, right? So that was a challenge. And I was able to repeat my process. I was able to rise up the ranks. And over the next few years, I was able to, become an executive at the company. This time I was smart with my money. I was sharing a story earlier when I was 18, making 6 figures, bought a house, drove a Range Rover. I'm doing everything to fit in. I'm spending more than I'm making. And I learned my lesson. Now I'm at that point when I'm telling the story about making the transition in industries. I'm 24, 25 years old now. So, I'm caring about my credit score. I'm saving money. I'm spending less than what I'm making. And I was setting myself up to where I was able to start Quest Education, and this was in 2018 when I started this company, and I maxed out credit cards. That was tough. Maxing out credit cards, taking a bunch of my savings and putting it in. That's scary, right? Because entrepreneurship is not guaranteed. We all know with entrepreneurship, you're for the most part not getting health insurance, you're not getting a guaranteed paycheck, and you're paying other people before a lot of times you get paid, right? So those were some financial challenges and then mental challenges as well.
Yeah, man. You touched on a lot, and I kind of want to get in because I titled this episode "Financial Literacy," and so like we've had a couple of financial people on, and we talked about keeping, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. We talked about some small investing. I know we had Steven Stack, who's a millionaire by the time he turned 30, and debt free, owns nobody anything, owns his house, owns everything. So we had him on, but like one of the things we didn't get into because we just didn't have the time to, that maybe you could help address is like make money. Okay. So like the person working a 9 to 5 or the entrepreneur that may just need a cash surge in their business. Like, what's your advice for like people who just need to make like some cash, right? Like, yeah, I get it. I need disciplines, behaviors, all that stuff that matters. Let's say they got that down pat, but they're still 30 grand in the consumer debt. They're working the debt snowball. But they need some cash, man. Like, what's your advice?
What's your talent? Like, what's your skill set, right? And we all have something unique, right? Maybe it's building websites. Maybe it's creating 30-second animated videos. Maybe it is something to do with selling something. I was in an Uber ride not too long ago, and homie was telling me from Friday night till Sunday night, he's able to make $500, $750, right? That doesn't sound fun, right? Like, no one wants to do that, but you do what it takes, right? Like, winners find a way to win no matter what. So this Uber driver, was just like, I need more money. I could save my money. I could not go to Starbucks, but I need more cash, right? So use time and use your skill set. I know, me personally, I could go to a different company, and maybe on the weekends when I'm not working my 9 to 5, if I'm hypothetically an employee somewhere, I could go sell something, right? Like, I don't care if it's, pest control, if it's, alarms, solar, I don't care. Like, that's my skill set, is being able to communicate, articulate, connect with people and sell something. And I don't have to be an expert in that specific product. I just can talk to people. So maybe you're an introvert. Maybe talking to people isn't what you want to do, but maybe you're a badass with the camera, right? Like, maybe you're a really good photographer. It's 2021, right? Like, there's so many opportunities out there to make money. I really believe the only reason why people don't have, that luxury of the extra money is just they're lazy, or they're letting their limiting beliefs get the best of them. I can't do it. Or what are they going to think about me? Like, who cares? If you got to go deliver pizzas to just get the extra money that you need and take that extra money to do ABC, then at the end of the day, who cares what you're having to do to get there, right? As long as it's morally and ethically, aligned with you. So for me, I would work backwards. Like, what are you good at? Wherever you live, is there a demand for something in your specific area? Even if you live in the middle of Nebraska, and I'm not talking shit on Nebraska, but like, even if you live in the middle of nowhere, like, social media and technology is just out there, right? Like, you can connect with so many different people. And, to me, we just can't listen to our excuses.
I love it, man. That's solid advice. That talent is something that, it's scratching my itch about my rebrand and my podcast coming out, because I was all about these yes moments, and the premise was the key to your next level of success is by finding your next yes, right? And what's your next yes? It's the book that you haven't wrote. It's the speech you haven't delivered. It's the thing you keep putting off until someday, not realizing that someday's never going to come. And the key to success is saying yes to that thing, and then that opens doors for you. But then I started to realize, like, when I got tired of saying that over and over again, say yes, say yes, say yes. And so I came up with this premise of like, okay, purpose made profitable. And you can make your purpose, your skill, the thing you love, your desire, and a profit stream from it. And so like I that's a perfect segue into a little bit more about Quest Education, because I know that's an expression of your purpose, right? It's something you made profitable, but it's something that brings you great joy and passion, right? So talk about Quest, and talk about, some of the work that you've done and the success stories that you've had.
Yeah, and one thing I want to be super transparent with people about, we hear passion and purpose a whole lot, and people might disagree with me, but my take on that is just because you don't have like out of 10 out of a 10, if what you're doing, you're not a 10 on the passion, that's okay. Like just being real with people, I'm not a 10 out of 10 when it comes to passion for retirement accounts, for 401ks, for IRAs. Do I like it? Yes. Do I think it's cool? Yes. Do I feel like there's a need for it and I can help people? Yes. I'm a 10 out of 10 for purpose though. Like there's a big difference between purpose and passion. My purpose is to provide a vehicle for my employees, right? So they can buy houses, so they can take care of their families. You brought up testimonials, right? Like we help people make huge changes financially with their situation. And it affects not them just today, but in the future, their kids, right? Like that's purpose. 401ks and investments and IRAs, like you can kind of get caught up in the minutia there, and it can get boring, right? It's just a dry topic. But I want to make sure that people, because there's just this whole, hey, you have to be 10 out of 10 passion to do what you need to do to make money. And yes, it's important. You do need to have some passion behind it. But if you're not all the way passionate about it, make sure your purpose is being fulfilled, right? Like for me, I'm passionate about sports. Like me and you, Daryl, we could probably talk about sports all day long. Like I'm in the gym almost every day. I love to work out. I like to play soccer. I like to play basketball. Like I'm 10 out of 10 passionate about that. I'm more passionate about that than retirement accounts. However, my purpose is not soccer right now. But who knows? Maybe down the road, I open up a soccer academy for underprivileged people, right? Like there's that, right? So I want to make sure people don't get too caught up in, passion, purpose, and just really making sure there's a clear distinction between the two. But when it comes to testimonials, we take great pride in really pulling the curtain back. So many financial advisors and CPAs, for a lot of different reasons, are not helping people understand if you have an IRA or 401k, you actually can access that money penalty and tax free. You can use that money to start a business. You can use that money to invest in real estate. You can use that money to pay off high interest rate credit card debt. So, we've got over 200 testimonials with a lot of our clients in all 50 states. And it's really cool to be able to see people tap into the retirement account penalty and tax free to start a business. And then that business allows them to retire, right? So now they're running a business full time. They're not having to clock in 9 to 5. And a lot of it started because they learned how to use their retirement account in a different way.
Love it. Love it. Love it. That's good, man. And I know you've got a podcast, How Winners Win, and you could hear the language coming out in some of your remarks earlier. And how do winners win, man? That's the $1 million question. What's the secret sauce?
Man, they do whatever it takes, right? Winning is not pretty. It's not always glorious, right? It's not convenient, right? And I love the parallels between sports and business, entrepreneurship. There's just a lot of parallels between the two. And I believe that's why I'm an entrepreneur today. I don't have that Gary Vee story where I grabbed flowers from an abandoned lot and grabbed those flowers and went to my neighbor's house and sold it for $5, and I flipped Pokemon and Pokemon cards and basketball cards, and I was an entrepreneur at 12 years old. Like I don't have that story. I really didn't know I wanted to become an entrepreneur until like my mid-20s. I just knew when I was 18, I looked back to my childhood, my mom pretty much raised me on her own, and I just knew I didn't want to be broke. I just knew that I didn't want to struggle. I wanted to make $100,000. Daryl, I knew if I could just make $100,000, that's like signing a 5-year contract at 40 million. I mean, I just thought $100,000 was everything. And obviously people are laughing because we know $100,000 ain't shit. So I've always had, a level of competitiveness with myself and with others. And I just love the parallels between business and entrepreneurship, culture and team building and learning how to lose, learning how to win, learning how to fail. So I just like to look at life in general as like, are you winning or losing, right? You're only doing one of the two. You're either winning with your relationships, your spouse, your friends, your employees. You're winning with your fitness. Maybe right now you haven't gone to the gym for 2 weeks and you keep making excuses and you keep, sleeping past your alarm and you haven't gone. Maybe you ain't winning in the gym. Maybe you ain't winning with your health. Maybe, you got to do a bunch of content, you got to do more videos, you got to post on social media more, you got to reach out to your Dream 25 referral partners. Maybe you ain't winning there with your marketing efforts. There's just different areas in our life where it's pretty simple. You're either winning or you're losing. And I don't have it figured out by any means. I like to, on my podcast on How Winners Win with my co-host, Keith Spears, we just like to shoot people straight. What's working for us, what's not working for us, how are we working on different things with our business, marketing, employees. Last podcast was about stress and anxiety. We all deal with it. And then we like to sprinkle some financial literacy as well, since that's our bread and butter. But just helping people win in their personal and financial life is our main mission.
I love that, dude. I love that, man. And I appreciate all that you're doing, man. And I was reading some of the testimonials on your website, like 20 minutes before you and I got on Zoom initially, and now StreamYard. And I was just like, man, this is cool stuff, and it's helping a lot of people, and it was encouraging to see the impact. I always love reading those testimonies and those impact, because that's how a person's really got it not figured out, but that's how I say you measure it by the fruits of your labor. And the fruits of your labor is the lives that you change. And when people talk good about you, even when you're not in the room, that's the best. That's when it's authentic, and it's not just because there's a camera in front of their face and you're like, say something nice about me. It's authentic, man. So I appreciate that about you. Let's talk to entrepreneurs for a second. And we're still in this vein of winners win. And one of the things that I know that your company or you coach other entrepreneurs on how to access loans or credit without having a line of credit or something like that. I think I saw when I was researching you, talk to them about how they can access funding if they've got low business credit, they're just getting started. I know the pandemic, a lot of people are getting into entrepreneurship now. They lost that cushy job, and it was probably the best thing that happened to them, because it pushed them to go for their dream. So they're going for it, and then like, man, if I could have someone support my vision, I don't know how to access credit, I don't know how to get funding. What's your advice to those startup entrepreneurs?
Yeah, one of my favorite customers, one of a testimony I'm always going to remember, her name was Yvonne, and she was working a 9-to-5 job for a really long time. She had money in a retirement account. She wanted to start an online business, needed around $20,000 to get started. Her Amazon business needed some product, and she didn't want to use credit cards to fund her business. And she went to her financial advisor. She's like, hey, I got money in this retirement account. I'd like to take $20,000 out to invest in myself, to invest in my business. I feel more confident about investing my own money in myself and my business than the stock market that I have no control over. And I'm not telling you that's right or wrong. That was just her perspective, right? So she goes to her financial advisor. Financial advisor's like, cool, well, you can take a $20,000 distribution, but you're going to have to pay penalties and taxes. And for people that don't know, when you withdraw money from an IRA or 401k, most 401ks, there's a 10% early withdrawal penalty and usually around 20% in taxes. So 30% in penalties and taxes would go to the IRS. In most cases, when you withdraw money out of a retirement account. She's like, man, that's steep. Like, I worked hard for this money. I don't want to throw this money away like that. So we end up talking to her, and we educate her on the plan that's called the Solo 401k. And if you've never heard about that, guys, Google it. Solo 401k is an IRS approved retirement plan that's specifically for entrepreneurs. And what we're able to help her do, we helped Yvonne take her retirement account, convert it into a Solo 401k. And then from there, she took the $20,000 penalty and tax free and used that to invest in her business. And she was the one I was referencing earlier, where she no longer works her 9-to-5 job. She no longer is in the corporate world. She runs her online business full time now. It's making enough money where she has the lifestyle to work from home. And a big reason how that took place is she learned how to use her retirement account in a different way. Wall Street does not want you to access money from your retirement account penalty and tax free. Why? They make money off of the fees, right? Like, the more money you have in retirement accounts with them, the more fees they can charge you. If all of a sudden you're using your retirement account to invest into multifamily, to invest into your own business, maybe use the money to pay off your 20% interest rate credit card debt, those transactions are not benefiting Wall Street. So why would they teach you? And that's why a lot of people, when they start talking to us, they're like, well, shoot, how come I didn't know about this before? I've never heard of a solo 401k. Well, that's a big reason why.
Right. Oh, man, what you don't know can and will hurt you. Man, you strike me as just a guy that truly wants to impact people, man. And so, like before we start landing the plane, I kind of want to give you a little space just to, you know, express your heart, man. Like the world's listening right now, and we're coming out of a pandemic. And I mean, what do you want to be known for? What message would you want to send to the world about what's possible?
Don't give up. I know that sounds cliche. At the end of the day, we're all dealt certain cards, but ultimately you are responsible for how you play those cards and what cards end up in your deck, right? Like I can look back and be like, okay, like my dad moved to Mexico when I was 12. From 12 to 17, it was just me and my mom. She struggled, single mom, had an addiction to drugs at 18, had a kid at 18. Ultimately, like you start making your own choices and you start making decisions that you have to live with. And you never know what can happen over 5, 10 years, right? Like if you were to look at my situation when I was 18, 19, like what a piece of shit. Like I'm taking more from society than I'm giving, right? I'm abusing drugs. I wasn't there for my daughter's birth. I just was a piece of shit. And now, if I look at where I'm at now, my daughter's 12. You know, she pretty much lives with us. I get to take her to school. I get to teach her about life. And you never know. A lot can happen in someone's life over 3 years, 5 years, 10 years.
Mm.
And just because you're in a bad situation right now, just because you've been a knucklehead and you made certain decisions that you're not proud of, so what? Like you have to move on. Eventually you have to stop complaining and bitching and sulking. And as long as the game is still playing, as long as the scoreboard is there and that clock is still running, then you have the ability to make an impact and change the future for you and your family and your loved ones. As soon as the clock stops, then it's game over. And until I wake up in the morning where I'm actually somewhere else besides my bed, right? Like I'm still in this game, and the game might be ugly. I might be losing. I might be getting beat up. But if I can open my eyes every morning, like God's giving me another shot, and it's up to me to make something out of it. So a lot of people, they hold on to resentment. They're not able to forgive certain people. They're beating themselves up. And ultimately, that's not serving anyone. You're on this earth and you're breathing for a reason, and you got to be able to tap into that reason.
So good, man. So good. And powerful, man. I love for you to talk about your book. It just came out, man. How does it feel?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. It's funny. Like I wrote the book first, and then I came up with the title. Like that was one piece of advice that I got from a lot of my entrepreneur friends that have written books before. You would think you'd come up with the title, right? So, the book is called Blueprint to Your Best Retirement. And my name is Daniel Blue. So I wanted to play off the name Blue. So the way we have Blue, what it stands for is B is build your money. L is learn about your money. U is utilize your money. And E is enjoy your money. And that's ultimately the type of education and the impact that we want to help people with is, hey, let's help you learn about your money. No one cares about your money more than you do. And once you learn how to build your money and learn about your money, then you can learn how to utilize your money. And then ultimately the goal is to enjoy your money, right? If we can have more money, we can impact more people. Money does give you the ability to help people. I always think it's funny when broke people are just like, man, like money is just greedy, is for evil people. I just want to help and save people. It's like, well, how are you gonna do that broke, right? So you do need to have money, right? So I do think there's a difference between looking at how money can be used. And I know a lot of people, and Daryl, I know you know a lot of people too that are ballers that do very well financially, but they have a heart of gold. They help a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to, help people where they can pick up my book and just learn, okay, cool. I didn't know that this is how retirement accounts could be set up. Right. Whether you take action or not, that's on you. I just wanted to give you another tool in your tool belt. And that book does come out in August, and people can, go to my website, danielblue.me and find out more information there. And when the book is released in August.
Sweet. And head over to the website and you can sign up to get notified for it when it releases. Man, excited for you, bro. It's gonna feel amazing when you get those pictures where people are holding the book in the hand. It's phenomenal. I came out with mine last year and it was a lot of work. It was a lot of
Good job,
work.
brother. Good job, man.
But you can
Kudos.
never stop promoting, man.
Yep.
Dude, the kind of where I want to land this plane and end on is this note about mindset. And I just think this is a great way to land the plane because you touched on it throughout in multiple ways, the mindset that is necessary for success. What are some mindset hacks? Like if someone's struggling with limiting beliefs, what would be your advice to help them shed the limiting beliefs? Some of the things you said that stuck out to me that I know can be helpful to myself and the audience. I mean, you mentioned 100 grand and you said 100 grand isn't anything. You know, it's not to some people, that's a lot of money. And I'll take 100 grand. If it's not a lot, give it to me. I know what you mean though. But that's a belief shift you have to have, right? The other is just the mindset to know that in a world of abundance that you can be profitable from your purpose. And you talked about that. You talked about what's that skill and go out and make money from it. You talked about other ways to make cash. You talked about entrepreneurship and you talked about what's necessary as a winner to find a way to win. All those are mindsets that are necessary to achieve the level of success that you've achieved and beyond. What, in that vein of thought, what comes to mind for you about how people can elevate their mindset?
So two things come to my mind. One is like who's influencing you, right? I got on drugs not because I hurt my knee, and you've probably heard the same story, Daryl, where someone gets hurt in a sports injury. They go to the doctor gives them pain pills, and now they're hooked on pills, right? Like that happens, right? I mean,
That was
see
me.
your hand. Yeah. I mean, like that's real life. I got addicted because my environment told me. So I was 18. I was super going to get influenced. I was trying to fit in. I didn't know who I was, what I stood for, right? So my environment shaped me. So environment does have a big role in how you think and act and operate. So who's influencing you, right? Like who is giving you information, right? Who's rubbing off on you, right? And it could be people you follow on social media. You probably can relate to this, Daryl. Investing in the masterminds and networking groups has been huge for me. Every time I'm around other people that are doing things that are much bigger, it makes me think bigger. Like what's possible? Like our company does 7 figures. I want to be around people that are doing 8 figures, 9 figures, because then I can see how they operate. It's like, shit, I ain't doing anything compared to them, right? So, who is influencing you and how can you be around other people that are doing better than you and not dragging you down, right? So that's huge, is your environment. And then 2, what's really huge is doing things despite how you feel, right? Every time I go to the gym when I don't want to, I get done, I feel great, man. Like I'm ready to shoot a video. I'm ready to do a podcast. I'm ready to have a great conversation with one of my employees. Like I'm just in a really good mind frame. And the more that you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, the bigger rut you fall into, right? And only you and you know that, right? It's only you and that person in the mirror when you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, because we have those conversations all the time. Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You might not be telling other people this, you're telling yourself. And then when you don't do it, you're just killing yourself slowly. You're just letting yourself down. And then now it's just that much harder to get the W to win. Yeah. So just little things like that, doing things no matter how inconvenient it is, because it's easy to do it when it's convenient, but when it's not convenient, if you can still do it no matter how you feel, like you're stacking up confidence, you're stacking up wins, and it's going to compound.
Love it. Love it, man. This is phenomenal, man. We talked about a lot of stuff: mindset, financial literacy, what it takes to win, how to get your retirement account to work for you, and to get more out of that, like secrets and what you can do with your retirement account that I didn't even know of. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to hire you. And so, man, this is great. Where can people get in touch with you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, best place would be danielblue.me. I've got links to the podcast. Our podcast is on all the major platforms, How Winners Win. I do have a course on the solo 401k on how to make money tax free, how to use your retirement account to invest into crypto and real estate and alternative assets. So I do have a course there. And it's got my social media handles. I'm pretty active on Instagram and Facebook. My Instagram is Daniel Blue 2 underscores. And then on Facebook, I'm Daniel Blue. I think I'm the only Daniel Blue in Las Vegas. So if you see a dude with a hairy chest and dark hair, that's me. And I do my best to be pretty active and consistent on both those platforms. So feel free to reach out to me.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Guys, what I want you to do, if you're just tuning in, you're watching the replay, what I want you to do is make sure you go back and listen to the entire episode. This guy's got an amazing story, and it can help you move your life forward. I want you to write down one thing, just one thing, not 10 things, not 11 things, not even 2 things, one thing that you're going to do to implement to change your life, right? Maybe it might seem like a small step. Maybe it might be like, hey, I'm going to schedule a consultation. It might be to go grab his course. It might be to grab the book when it comes out. Like it might be just to sit down and look at where you're spending your time. It might be to identify one limiting belief. I'm just trying to give you ideas, but I want you to pick one thing that you're going to implement in the next 24 hours. Because action is what's going to change your life. Information, the scripture says knowledge alone puffs up, right? You get a lot of information, consume, get a big head, think you know everything. But when you start to apply that thing, I love what Brendan Bouchard said. He says, common sense isn't always common practice. And we find that way because with so much information, it's like, oh, I know that already, but are you doing it? So pick something that you're going to take action on because that is how you move your life forward. Right? Make sure you go follow Daniel on all the platforms, connect with him. Daniel, I appreciate your time today. Guys, always remember that no matter what you've been through, no matter how many mistakes you've made, that life has a way of awarding us second chances. And second chances exist so that we can finish strong. So go out there and finish strong, my friends. I love you. Peace.